I want to tell you a story of the old days, when people were different from now. I'm going to tell you about the building of a kayak, how it was made in the Eskimo way by my father and his great friend, the kayak builder. I was not always a grandfather with many grandchildren. Some people think that old Tuktu never ran after the girls, but I also was young once, and I remember my father making this kayak as if it were only yesterday. The frame of a kayak was made of driftwood. Driftwood was of great value to us. It came from beyond the sea, some of it from strange lands where the sun always shines, or from whaling ships, or from ships sent by white men to look for Eskimos. It came to us when the ice melted and was cast up on our beaches. When we found it, we were thankful. One day I was playing on the beach with a stick I had found. I remembered that my father had gone out early in the morning without a spear or a bow, or even his fishing lines. He is hunting with his bare hands, I thought. Surely my father is the greatest of all hunters. But I was filled with curiosity and wondered what he might catch without a fishing line, or what he might kill without a spear. Then I saw him far away along the beach. Every now and then he would pick something up. On his back I saw a bundle of driftwood. Then I knew why my father had left so early that morning. He is going to make something out of wood, I thought. This could be a great marvel, and I was filled with curiosity and excitement. When I arrived at the camp, I found the kayak builder and my father sawing up the wood. The saw was made of iron from a white man's ship. Said my father, "We are going to build a kayak." "Will it be our kayak?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "With it I shall hunt the caribou that swim in the bay. I shall float on the water like a duck. A kayak is a fine thing, and you, Tuktu, will see us build it. If you need a piece of wood of a certain length, you must often join two pieces together. Watch, Tuktu, how we do this with caribou thong. Then we make the join firm with wooden pegs. Watch how I make the holes for the pegs with a bow drill."
Tamnen na pilaki. Tapi tukang. Tak lagi tukang.
But I wanted to do more than watch. I wanted to use the bow drill myself and cut wood with a saw. Alas, my father and the kayak builder told me I was too young, that I must first learn all about these magic tools by watching. "Do not be impatient, Tuktu," said my father. But I was impatient. If I couldn't help to build the kayak, then I would throw stones. I would practice throwing stones with my mother. "Some people throw stones and make it hard to build a kayak," said my father. "Some people need useful work to do." Said my mother, "You must learn, Tuktu, that 3 people cannot always do things quicker than 2. Sometimes 2 people work more quickly. You will be more helpful if you watch carefully and learn how things are made. Then you will grow up and be clever at building a kayak." I knew that my mother spoke true words, but I still wanted to use the bow drill and cut wood with a saw. said my father, a kayak must have ribs. To make them, wood must be bent into shape. First, we make a fire. Then we boil seal oil in a pot. Then we carefully pour the hot oil over the wood. Thus we soften the wood and then bend the wood into shape. I watched all these things even as my father told me. I saw the ribs bent and fitted cunningly to the frame. I saw how holes were made with the bow drill and how the ribs were lashed securely to the frame with caribou thong. I told my mother, now I have surely learned enough to make a kayak. I want to cut wood with a saw and use the bow drill. Not yet, Tuktu, said my mother. Be patient. Soon, very soon, you will use these things. You have yet much to learn. The frame was now ready for the keel strip. Said my father, a whale or a fish needs a backbone. You and I need a backbone. This is the backbone of the kayak. Then I saw them give the kayak a backbone, saw them fasten it securely to the front and back of the frame and to the ribs. Our kayak will now be strong, said my father. And it was so. The frame of the kayak was almost finished. I thought, perhaps there are pieces of wood left over that I can cut with a saw. I ran down to the beach. We test the kayak now, said my father. Is it broad enough? Is it high enough? Will it take the paddle without banging on the sides? Yes, I said, but I need some pieces of old wood to cut with a saw. But my father and the kayak man paid no attention. I would like to use the bow drill now, I said. But the kayak man only smiled, and my father said, this kayak is well made. I shall float on the water like a duck. See, this is where I will sit, said my father. Watch how the work is done, Tuktu. Watch and learn. I am thankful, I said. I am happy to learn these things. I also would like to use the saw and the bow drill. And so you shall, said the kayak man, all in good time. For the present, our work is done. Now we must cover the frame with skin. For this, we need the help of a woman. Only a woman is skillful with the needle. Watch and learn, Tuktu. Now they brought the frame down to the water, and I saw how the sea was pleased. A good omen. The frame, without the covering it was soon to receive, rode evenly and lightly. "It is good," said my father. "All is well." The skins had been well soaked. "Bring them up," said the kayak builder. "The frame is now wet enough and ready for the covering." At last the kayak was quite finished. My heart was full of excitement. This was our kayak, and added greatly to my father's wealth. Now he would float like a duck and hunt the caribou, even as they swam across the water. I had watched and learned many useful things. I asked my father, "Will you let me cut wood with a saw and make holes with a bow drill?" "Yes, Tuck too, I will," he said. "But first we shall float the new kayak." Smiling, the kayak builder watched my father as he lifted the kayak and set it carefully in the water. "All is well," he said. "I am thankful." "I am also thankful," said my father. "Tuck too shall come with me on my first voyage." Then I pretended to be a dead caribou and floated away with my father very swiftly. The kayak floated like a duck upon the waves. And that is the way we used to live.